Today we're looking at adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. This is something that you've been doing since Algebra 1, so we're going to kind of zip through some of this, particularly the adding. So when you're adding polynomials, the parentheses are really just saying, here's this first polynomial, and here's this second polynomial, and we're going to add them together. Well, when you add them together, the parentheses really don't matter at all. You're just combining like terms. So the largest exponent, we should try to keep it in standard form whenever possible. The largest exponent is x to the third, so we'd add those together first. 3x to the third and another x to the third would be 4x to the third. When you're adding, you are just combining the coefficients. You're not changing the exponent. Then 2x squared matches with negative 10x squared. 2 and negative 10 is negative 8x squared. There's only one x term, so we have this minus x. And then we've got negative 7 and positive 8. Negative 7 and positive 8 makes 1. So 4x cubed minus 8x squared minus x plus 1. If you want to, pause the video and write out example B and try example B on your own, and then play the video to get your answer. I'm going to pause while I do the problem. The biggest thing to remember when you are adding polynomials is that the symbol in front of the term goes along with that term. So some people teach like don't subtract, add the opposite. So instead of this at the end being a minus 4, it's actually a plus a negative 4. But it also works just to attach that negative to the 4. So that minus 4 means negative 4. When we find the difference, then the parentheses do matter. When there's a subtraction sign, the parentheses do matter because we need to subtract everything in this second set of parentheses. So really what we need to do is think of this as a plus a negative parenthesis, and we need to distribute that negative into the parentheses. So we have 8x to the third minus 2x to the third, but then we also have negative 3x squared minus 6x squared, negative 2x minus negative x. So what I find to be helpful is when I copy these problems down onto my own paper, I go ahead and distribute that negative. So that's actually a negative 2x to the third, a negative 6x squared, a positive x, because minus a negative is a positive, and a negative 1. Once you distribute the negative, then you can treat it just like example 1 and combine your like terms. So 8x to the third, nope, don't want you, Cortana. 8x to the third minus 2x to the third would be 6x to the third. I should probably show my work somehow here. Negative 3x squared and negative 6x squared. Negative 3 and negative 6 is negative 9x squared. Negative 2x and x would be negative x. And 9 and negative 1 would be 8. So pause and try B on your own. Okay, there's the answer to B. If you feel like you know how to do this, you can honestly skip. I'm going to pause the video and write out the answers for example 3, A and B. But honestly, if we were like in person right now, we probably would skip example 3. So I'm going to pause the video and work these out really quick and then play the video to show you the answer. But you can kind of skip over that if you feel like you're good. On your assignment, you will have to type your answers in. So make sure that when you put the exponents in, hit the right arrow to get out of the exponent before writing your next term. You do have unlimited answer checks on the assignment. Since you're typing it in, I want you to have the opportunity to check your answer and then, oh crap, what did I do wrong? Go back and look at it. So hopefully you'll get some really good immediate feedback from this assignment with all of those answer checks that you have available to you. To multiply polynomials, you distribute as many times as necessary, so every term in the first polynomial has been multiplied to every term in the second polynomial. Sometimes this is a simple distributive property, sometimes it's FOIL. Multiplying polynomials is the precise reason that I dislike the term FOIL, because FOIL only works when you're doing something like x plus 2 times 2x plus 3, when it's a binomial multiplied by another binomial. That's the only time FOIL works. In example A, we're just using distributive property. We're taking 8x cubed and multiplying that to all three of these terms. So 8x cubed times 6x squared. 8 times 6, honestly, that's the one multiplication fact that I always second guess myself on. 48. When you do x to the third times x squared, that is doing x to the third times x squared, that is x to the fifth. When you're multiplying polynomials, you add the exponents together. 8x cubed times 3x. 8 times 3 is 24. X cubed times another x is x to the fourth. 8x cubed times negative 7. 8 times negative 7 is negative 56. And then there's the x cubed. All right, in example B, if you wanted to, you could put the x minus 3 in front and then double distribute. The way this is written, I'm going to basically triple distribute. So I'm going to use 3 different colors to show you this process. First, we are going to distribute negative x squared. So negative x squared times x is negative x to the third. Negative x squared times negative 3 is positive 3x squared. And actually, because I'm digital, I can do this. I'm going to move this down a little bit just so I have enough room to do all of my work. I have distributed the negative x squared. I'm now done with it. Now I'm going to distribute the positive 2x. Positive 2x times x is positive 2x squared. Positive 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. I have distributed the 2x. I'm done with it. Now we need to distribute the positive 4. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Now, something that I wanted to show you, and I can do this because I'm on a computer. This might be a little bit more difficult for you to do, but you can write it in a line like this and then combine like terms. The other thing that you could do is that when you're writing out these next pieces, you could just start stacking the things that are the same so that when you go to combine your like terms, you've got your like terms all lined up in a column. And for a problem like example B, it's not really that big of a deal, but take a look at what we're going to be doing in example D. Stacking our terms may end up being very, very helpful in a problem like example D. So then we've got negative x cubed, we've got 5x squared, negative 2x, and negative 12. So when you're multiplying, you increase the exponents. After you've multiplied, now we are adding. We're combining our like terms. That's when we just add the coefficients together. We don't change the exponents. So our final answer for example B is negative x cubed minus or plus 5x squared minus 2x minus 12. I want you to try example C on your own. So pause the video, try example C on your own. Once you have it done, I want you to play the video and check to see if your answer matches mine. Seriously, pause the video. I don't think you paused it yet. Pause the video. Okay, example D. I'm definitely going to stack in example D. If we're multiplying a trinomial with another trinomial, we're going to end up with 9 terms. So you're either going to have a huge long list of 9 terms, or we can stack them up to make it a little bit easier. So first I'm going to distribute 2x squared. 2x squared times x squared is 2x to the fourth. 2x squared times negative 4x is negative 8x cubed. 2x squared times negative 9 is negative 18x squared. I'm done with that term. Now I distribute positive 3x. 3x times x squared is 3x cubed. I would write that right underneath my other x cubed term. 3x times negative 4x is negative 12x squared. 3x times negative 9 is negative 27x. I'm done distributing that. Now I need to distribute positive 5. 5 times x squared is 5x squared. We'll write that here, and I know that that's a positive, excuse me, positive 5x squared. 5 times negative 4x is negative 20x, and 5 times negative 9 is negative 45. By stacking up the terms, I saved myself a little bit of horizontal page space, but I'm also making this next step easier. So 2x to the fourth, that's the only x to the fourth term. Then we've got negative 8x and positive 3x, both of them to the cube. Negative 8 and 3 is negative 5. Then I've got these three terms, and if you need to use your calculator for this, totally fine. Type in the negative 18 plus negative 12 or minus 12 plus 5. That should be negative 25x squared. Negative 27 and negative 20 makes negative 47x minus 45. Don't be alarmed if your numbers start to get pretty big. When you're talking about multiplying polynomials that have numbers like 5 and 9 in them, you're going to start getting some bigger numbers. Okay, we do need to make sure we talk about example E and F. Example E, I wish there was a super easy, here's how you do this all in one easy step, but there's not. Example E becomes a two-step problem. Your first step is to pick two of these parentheses and multiply them together. It doesn't matter which two you pick. I usually pick the last two just because that's just what I do. That's my preference. So 2x times 3x is 6x squared. We've got negative 2x, positive 3x, and negative 1. Combine those like terms. So that is the result of multiplying the second two binomials together. Now we have to remember that we still have x minus 6 in front of this. So now we need to double distribute with the x and the negative 6. X times 6x squared is 6x cubed. X times x is x squared. X times negative 1 is negative x. Negative 6 times 6x squared is negative 36x squared. Negative 6 times x is negative 6x. And positive 6. And you can see I stacked them. You don't have to stack them. You can write it all in one line if you want to. I just know that the way that my eyes and brain work, if I write it all in one horizontal line, it's easier for me to miss a like term when I'm trying to combine them. So this is 6x cubed minus 35x squared minus 7x plus 6. Okay, F is probably one of the easiest problems that you're going to be multiplying. You just have to remember that x minus 4 squared means x minus 4 times x minus 4. You can't just square both numbers. So you have to write out x minus 4 times x minus 4 and then double distribute. You've got x squared, negative 4x, then you've got negative 4x and positive 16. So our final answer here is x squared minus 8x plus 16. Your assignment is in Big Ideas, so clever, and then click on Big Ideas, and then it is the 4.2 assignment.